And then this is when Niles goes in on his story and says, I was in love once.
But then Max doesn't. He does nothing. He just continues his work.
Yeah, he just doesn't pay attention.
Niles says again, I was in love once.
He says, oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to tell me this story?
Hello, hello, hello.
Wow, 3 hellos.
Yes, it's that type of day. The extra emphasis on hello.
And why is it that type of day?
Because we're going into episode 21 of season 1 of The Nanny by A Fine Podcast.
And that's why it's a 3 hello day?
Yes.
Because we're almost at the end of the first season?
Yes, we have 2 episodes left.
2 episodes left to review.
Yeah, it's crazy to think we've already almost wrapped up season 1.
It really is crazy to think that. And we're coming to you late with this episode because
Yeah.
an event happened.
Yes, we had our second child.
We had our second child.
Yes, in the middle of last week, so we are a little delayed this
end of
time
last
around.
week.
So apologies about that.
But we welcomed a beautiful baby boy into the world.
Yes, we did.
And we're just now trying to get caught up on sleep and our new life.
The addition to our life.
Our new life with 2 children.
Yes. Trying to juggle 2 under 2. So.
No, 2 under 1 right now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Our first son's birthday is coming up later this month. So we can only say that for a few more weeks.
Yeah, that's true. Take advantage of it.
2 under 1, 2 under 1. So much fun. Right now, they're
yeah.
actually both napping at the same time. Some fluke.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
Yes. And we also have Joseph's mother watching them.
Yeah, shout out to my mom.
Woo! Shout out to Mom.
Thanks for the help.
Thank you so much for the help. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Which has allowed us to still get to this podcast this week.
Yes.
And here I am, straight from birth to the podcast table.
Yeah, this was pretty quick for you. You've really gone from the delivery table to back into
podcast table.
Yeah. It's just hopping around tables.
Yes. Well, I'm feeling energized because I'm really excited about this episode. It is Frannie's choice.
Yes, a marriage proposal may happen or it may not. This is all on her choice and whether she allows it or disallows it.
So, quick synopsis. Fran must decide between the Sheffields and her old boyfriend that does propose.
Wow.
I gave it away. He proposes, but will they get married?
Yes.
Will she leave the Sheffield family?
That is the ultimate cliffhanger.
It is. So, super excited for this one. Let's go into scene 1. So, this scene starts off with Mr. Sheffield, and he has a hot date to get to. What do you think he meant by this?
Yeah, because actually I just even thought about that. They never
Explained that
circled
at
around
all?
about this or anything. It was almost like a weird way to start the film because they never follow up on that.
He's like, I've got to go to a hot date.
I assume it was some theater thing, but
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, if it was with a woman, I feel like we would hear more about that.
yeah, well, that would probably deserve its own episode if they went
Right.
that route. You can't just throw that in as a side and then have this other main pivotal theme separate to that. So
Right. So probably wasn't that. But the whole point here was to show that they have a life and they're going out doing different things. So Max has got a hot date. Maggie is going out to the movies and Brighton goes with her so she can have an extended curfew because she gets an extra hour out if she invites Brighton along.
yeah, that was pretty
So.
smart by Fran to
That was
encourage the siblings to
hang out.
get along, and have some time. So that was a smart move.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So they're having some sibling time. And then Niles, well, he's off to his Butler's Association meeting.
Yes, which he, we saw from, I think it was 6, but where he got interviewed or tested for the association and he made it, and now they follow up with that, which was kind of nice
Yeah, he
to
has
see
meetings.
that he's actually still actively involved in it and participating. So
They need his dues.
yes, yeah, they do. That's probably why.
That's probably why. Yeah. So Fran, she's left all alone and she's wondering what she's going to do. And then this is when Val pops through the door and she said, "Hey, I rented Single White Female for us to watch," which is a movie from 1992, a horror film.
Oh, I've not heard of this.
I haven't either.
Oh,
That's all I found out about that one.
may have to
And-
watch that one then.
Yeah, maybe. It's a scary film.
Oh, spooky.
Woo! And Val says, for a snack, I also picked up a box of Slim Fast bars. And then Fran says, Val, after you eat 10 bars, you don't get slim so fast. So you're probably snacking on this, but eating a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's way back when that was a big thing.
Right, Slim Fast bars,
Yeah.
which I would imagine you'd have to eat like a bunch because they're so slim and like they're offering in calories that you'd probably be ravenous eating them.
Right. It's just low calorie things, but I mean,
Right.
yeah, just because I eat 10 of them in one sitting doesn't mean I'm
Slim. 'Cause the name
slimming
is
up
slim.
fastly.
Right.
So.
So then they get to gossiping, and Val talks about how Heather Biblow and Danny Imperiali broke up. So this is a big point of this episode and of the whole series, really, so far, because Heather Biblow took Fran's job and Fran's place
Yes, and her lover.
and her lover. And now the whirlwind romance is over.
Yeah, I guess they really didn't skip. It was just kind of what it just died out. There wasn't much of a reason outside of that to why they parted ways. It was just or went their separate ways.
It was like a hot romance that just died out, I guess.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yes. The attraction burned out. The
Yes.
flame went asunder.
So they talk, and Fran says, oh, yeah, that's so sad for him, since I dumped him. And Val says, "No, Fran, you didn't dump him. He dumped you. It was this whole big scene in the bridal shop." And Fran's like, "I dumped him, okay, Val? That's how I remember it."
Yeah, there's like this weird obsession with everyone when they break up that they want to be the dumper and not
Right.
the dumpy.
Because you'd be like a loser if you were the one broken up with.
Yeah, which it's kind of a weird stereotype associated with that, but
Yes.
nonetheless. But then she thinks I can redate him now and then actually become the dumper
Right.
and not the dumpy.
Here's my shot.
Yes.
So that's what they think. They can turn the tables here. And Val says, this is the part that I don't really understand. Val says, I'm encouraging you, go talk to him. You and Danny are meant to be together. Now's your chance. And then she turns around and says, well, this time you can dump him, though. You can get back at him. So it's like two contradicting statements. It's like you two belong together. Then it was, why don't you get together just so you can dump him this time and rewrite the story?
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. I mean, yeah, that's kind of. I mean, because we see, later on that everyone dislikes him because they kind of remember exactly what he did to Fran when she starts mentioning it to various members of the family going forward. But Val kind of has a different take on it, it seems like.
Yeah.
Initially, but I don't know. Maybe she's just having like a total weird moment with.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't know. So we'll see. We'll soon talk about what the other.
Or maybe it was be destined to become the dumper.
Yeah.
That's what she meant by that.
But
It was
why?
destiny to dump him. So when he dumped her way back in episode 1, time did not like that. So now they must rewind and.
Sure, that part makes sense. But the part that doesn't make sense is her saying you guys belong together. What, for a brief moment until she dumps him?
Yes, to be together so that Fran can dump him.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes. Not to be together forever.
Just for a brief moment.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on board with that. So they're at the bridal shop in this next scene, and Fran walks in with the kids and Val, and Fran is really trying to impress Danny here with her big outfit and hat that she's wearing. And then Danny comes out and he says, "Wow, Fran, you look like $1,000,000. Like really trying to compliment her so he can win her over.
Yeah, so Danny's just kind of just trying to butter up Fran here since he has lost Heather Biblo or realizes maybe the grass is not greener on the other side. He'd like to go back, and so let me just butter up Fran and let me butter her biscuit. And
Wow. I don't remember him being country. He's, in fact, the quite opposite of that with his big, thick New York accent.
Yeah.
Butter her biscuit. Let me do it. So Danny even says his mother misses Fran. And they talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that was kind of which I think that would be like that's a big New Yorker thing, right? Well, it's not just a big New Yorker thing. It's in general.
Universal.
Thing. Yeah. Yeah.
So he says he's so sorry for dumping Fran for Heather Biblo. He said he had to have a cheap affair to know what he had, even though he was with Heather for 6 months. And he says he still wants Fran. And then he kisses her, persuading her to come back to him. And then Fran pushes him away and says, "I'm not wasting another 3 years with you to just have you dangle an engagement in front of my face and for it to never happen again." And then he proposes to her in the bridal shop to show just how serious he is.
Yeah, which is obviously a terrible intention and a terrible way to do that. That's not for the right reasons.
No, it's terrible.
That would crumble. That would not last at all.
Fake.
My guess.
And she says, "Well, you led me on for 3 years. You cheated on me. You fired me. So I'm going to have to think about it."
Yeah, not a direct no. No, let me just think about this for a minute. Which, man, bad on Fran.
Bad on Fran. It
That
should be
an
a
instant no.
instant no, correct.
Like my instant hot coffee should be no.
Just instantly.
Yes.
It's there. It's no. Agreed.
Nada.
Disappointed in
Zilch.
Fran falling for this. It's really her falling for the idea of, ooh, I could be married soon. And being married is so important to Fran.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, especially because, she wants her own family and to probably have her own kids to be raising versus third-party kids. So, or other children.
Third-party children.
Other children. So.
Versus the third-party children. I like that term.
Yeah.
Her kid she's nannying.
Yes.
So in this next scene, she is at Sylvia's place and Fran says she finally got proposed to. And then Sylvia is so happy about this and she does a rain dance in celebration of this news.
Yeah, I don't understand this because she's doing like a Jewish
rain dance?
Well, it's like the Jewish
Mazel tov, mazel
I
tov.
don't know, phrasing of things, but then she does this more rain dance thing, but I don't know.
And you can hear it like storming outside a little bit when she's doing it.
Yes.
So this part's really funny because Sylvia says, "Wow, now Morty and I, we can just get ready to die with this news." So she opens the door and she speaks to Morty and she says, "Morty, start smoking again."
Yeah. So, yeah, she says they've been waiting for this moment since she was born.
Since she was born.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. I don't think
So she's born and she's like, "I can't wait for her to get married."
This almost seems like a terrible thing for. It's almost like I don't want to. I don't want to have to take care of her anymore. She'll finally find someone else who can take care of her, and then I can just die.
It's just Sylvia's obsession with marriage.
It's
She
almost
passed
like
on to
Sylvia
her daughter.
never wanted Fran.
Oh no! Oh, wow, this is like a really weird insight. Not like that at all, but
I don't know. I could
Sylvia's
take it.
obsessed with marriage.
Yeah, or just not having to take care of her 29-year-old daughter anymore. 20 29.
29.
30 actually, I guess now, because she
30.
She had a birthday. So.
And she admitted to being 30,
Right.
which she'll never do it ever again.
Yes.
So Fran says, well, wait, Mom, I haven't said yes yet. And then Sylvia opens the door again and she says, Morty, put out your cigar. So it's not time to die yet.
Right, yes.
So Sylvia says, what is there to think about? He's handsome, he's rich, he has 3 children. And Fran says, oh, no, Mom, it's not Mr. Sheffield. So it's like assumed it's Mr. Sheffield at this point.
Well, of course, because, I mean...
Who else could she be talking about?
Yeah, what other men are in her life?
Yeah,
other than...
but she's not dating Mr. Sheffield.
Right, but... I mean, Sylvia has that impression, and she's not talking to anybody else, so... I think it'd be easy to assume that.
Wow.
Also, with this whole smoking thing, I was just, like, imagining Morty having, like, 5 cigars lined up.
And then he doesn't get to use any of them. Yeah.
Oh, but I also wanted to mention here that Fran is breaking the green beans, the tips of the green beans. Did you see when she was doing that when they were talking about this, about who who her proposer was? I don't know. It reminded me of my childhood.
Wow.
Because my mother and I used to break the ends of the green beans like that. Because you had to prep them like that to cook them.
To get the bean out.
Yes. But there was always, there's like a whole slew of them. She'd always bring like 2 pounds of them home, and you just have to spend like 30 minutes just breaking the ends. I don't know. So I saw Fran do that. I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know. It's like a flashback.
Did you have a fun time breaking beans?
I guess. It's pretty monotonous.
Wow. Childhood memories.
Yeah. Anyway.
So Fran says, it's Danny. And Sylvia, she's immediately disappointed. And she says, well, I didn't like the way that he treated you, Fran. And then for that, I'm proud of Sylvia. But as we move on in the scene, Fran says, but Mom, he cried to me today. And Sylvia says, oh, he cried for you? And she asks Fran, oh, do you love him? And Fran says, I don't know if I love him. And she said all she's thinking about really is her love for the 3 children that she nannies.
Yeah, which is quite the phrase such a nice thing by Fran that she's kind of more concerned about the children and their welfare and livelihood over her own marriage. So
that's good.
Quite a big, reflection of her.
Good on her.
But yeah, the weird, I don't understand the whole, crying thing by Sylvia. I love a man who cries.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, well, he cried. Now I'm totally for him after I just took a stand against him, which was the right thing to do.
Yeah, so I could just, according to Sylvia, I could just go cheat on the person and then come crying back and say I'm crying sorry about it, and that'd be...
touching.
Yeah.
As long as there's a tear in your eye.
I wonder if Morty did that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Smoking his cigars.
Yeah, smoking it into his eye so he can get some tears. So Sylvia says, well, don't you want a life? And Fran says, well, that's it. You're right. I'm getting married then. And then Sylvia does the rain dance again. And then you really hear thunder this time.
And rain does go.
Yes.
Quite heavily.
So Sylvia's happy about this just because she's getting married.
Yes, but could this be taken as some bad omen in the future? Because it's either, could you see this omen as the rain means it's good that it's happening, or does the rain symbolize storms ahead and sadness?
Yeah.
It could go either way. That's kind of an interesting symbolism they threw in there.
Yeah, I would really like to know the meaning behind the rain dance.
Yeah, that thing too. I like more about the actual rain.
Yeah. So in this next scene, Fran is talking to Niles, and Benny's Clam Bar comes up again as a place to host an event, which they're talking about her engagement party. But I just thought that was interesting.
Yes, and none other than our famous
Kenny.
Yeah.
Gets to
laundry basket.
Got your fabric softener, Kenny.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll do some stand-up at the engagement party.
Yeah,
or he would.
that would be great.
Yeah. So Niall says, well, why don't you consider having the party at one of your favorite bars or your favorite village place in town? And Fran says, well, Danny doesn't like coming into the city. And she says, well, Danny and I really don't have too much in common anymore because Fran loves going into the city now and Danny hates it. And she tells Niles, we'll work on that once we get married. We'll work on not having anything in common once we get married, which is interesting.
Yeah, and then Niles had a great response like, oh, Manhattan has so little to offer.
Yeah, and he said, well, good thing, too, you'll work on that once you get married because men are just so easy to change.
Yeah. And I also wanted to, Niles is chopping onions, and while they're having a discussion here, and he, Fran's like, oh, don't be so sad, Niles. And he's saying, oh, no, it's the onions I'm chopping. But I was looking at him, the way he was chopping the onions, and some of it was right, but then towards the end of like the scene where he's talking, he relaxes his fingers and starts chopping the improper way.
Oh, really?
Yes. So he's lucky he didn't cut his finger.
Was he looking at his hand when he was chopping?
No, he was looking at Fran.
Wow.
So could have been bad. Could have gone south real quick.
Wow. So he lost form when he got
Yes.
more and more involved in the conversation.
Yeah, he should have kept his nail down and forward, but then he started going sideways.
Wait, show the viewers what you mean.
No, but he's cutting like, you should keep your nail and use your nail as the guide. But he went sideways and was cutting like this, which then you could easily cut
your thumb.
skin, or your finger,
Oh.
whatever you're using, but keep your hands down.
Yeah.
Anyway, cooking 101.
Fran then goes in to tell Max about this, and she goes into his office, says, hey, I'm getting married. And then the first reaction is from Cece, who is absolutely overjoyed with this news. This is the happiest I've ever seen Cece so far.
Yeah, she was quite ecstatic here. I mean, yeah, we probably have not seen her this happy before.
I don't think so.
Yes.
And then Max is immediately outraged that Fran is going back to Danny after cheating on her. And she says, well, she forgave him. And Max says, okay, well, if you've forgiven him, then I guess I couldn't be happier for you. And he says, well, I guess you'll be leaving us then. And he says, well, who else is going to turn up to breakfast in these loud, inappropriate bathrobes? And you'll be greatly missed by me or by the children.
Yes. Yeah, the children.
Not by him.
Not him yet.
Not him yet.
Yeah, I mean, Max is... I don't know. I feel like it hasn't really set in for him yet. Maybe it's just a fake thing or something that might happen, not happen, actually happen. So I don't think it's really maybe settled in for him yet.
Yeah, I think he really has to think about this.
Yeah, because I mean, it's pretty large news to take, and probably there's initial denying it, so he's not so believing into it yet.
Yeah. So Max says he wants to help them financially with the honeymoon, which is a nice gesture. And he says, well, now you have to tell the children, which Fran is absolutely dreading. But then we go to the kitchen, and Cece is popping champagne in the kitchen in front of the children. And this is just her excitement keeps building up from here.
Yeah. When I saw that again, it it really points into the I don't want to say alcoholism.
I was about to say that.
But it's like when she's depressed or feeling miserable, she needs a drink, and then when she's super excited, she's
Time to drink.
popping drinks out. So. Yeah.
All emotions
Yeah.
required.
No matter how
That.
she's feeling. It's just a different type of drink for the occasion.
Yeah.
That's about it.
No longer hard liquor.
Yeah.
So the kids are there, and she's trying to ease into telling them. And she says, remember Danny from the bridal shop? Well, he's getting married. And Maggie says, oh, that backstabbing, two-timing freak. And then Brighton says, so what idiot fell for that loser?
Yeah, I mean, that's... Which, man, if I was a friend at that point, I'd almost I'd have to, I don't know, make up something because that'd be pretty hard to admit after
Yeah.
everyone coming out. But I'm also amazed at how well they remember.
Well, it's actually touching that they're all saying this because they really have Fran's back. They've heard about the whole event.
Yeah, right. The fact that they still remember who he is and what happened, and especially as children, like they take that much concern into it is quite.
They really care about Fran,
Yeah.
which is why it really doesn't make sense that Fran is even considering this in the first place. But so they quickly learn that it's Fran, and then they get mad and sad about this. And then Cece says, well, you all still have Aunt Cece.
Yeah, who has admitted in previous episodes she absolutely hates children,
Yes.
and then she's like, all of a sudden, yeah, I'll be your great aunt. Or
What
I'll
a
be
comforting thought there.
an awesome aunt for you. And
Aunt Cece. And then Cece starts singing for She's a Jolly Good Fellow, and then everyone runs out.
I feel like it didn't really make sense here.
Cece is having a blast singing that song.
Oh, yeah, I guess I could see it for Cece's side. I guess I thought of it more of like for Fran.
Cece is a jolly good fellow.
Yes, but she's singing it, but she's looking at Fran singing it. I don't know. I guess it really is, though.
Well,
For
Fran's
her.
jolly too about her wedding.
I don't think she was. I don't know. She doesn't seem very jolly telling.
That's
the
why it's like a
kids about it.
sarcastic thing or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I see it more for Cece now. So she's singing it for herself rather than for Fran.
Yeah, it's all for her.
Or she's just trying to maybe cheer up Fran. And
But a wedding's supposed to be a joyous occasion.
yeah. I mean, Fran's obviously upset about the children, but maybe she wants to boost her up because she's really make sure she goes through with this. So Mr. Sheffield is all in Cece's firing range again.
I'm sure she loves that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of this. That's why she's so excited. So.
Yeah. So in this next scene, Max is interviewing nannies, new nannies to take over. And he's judging everybody against Fran and not really their nannying abilities. And he says, oh, we can't go with them. They had no style, no sense of humor, and they had flat hair.
Yeah, this is quite the interesting turnaround because I feel like this episode has so much pointing back to episode 1. But where, when Fran first joined or was trying to join, it was too much flair and too much outwardness and everything, where now he wants the opposite of what he wanted previously.
Yeah.
Now he even doesn't want calm, collected, normal nanny. Now it's this joyful, gregarious, outgoing person as a nanny.
And high hair.
Yes, big, voluminous hair.
So Max admits that he depends on Fran for pretty much everything now. And I think this is where he really has it settling in for him. And he says he wishes he could change things, but then says it's probably not right for him to interfere with her happiness. And then this is when Niles goes in on his story and says, I was in love once.
But then Max doesn't. He does nothing. He just continues his work. And
Yeah, he just doesn't pay attention.
Niles says again, I was in love once.
He says, oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to tell me this story? Kind of ridiculous. He wasn't even listening to Niles.
Yeah, it's like only about Max. That's it.
Right. So Niles says that he used to work with somebody and they fell in love, but he never really told her how he felt. And she got away.
Well, right. Well, I mean, Niles knows Max is interested or has something for Fran, but Max doesn't really, I guess, know it yet or want to admit it, but Niles knows it, and Niles is basically just saying or trying to show him, don't make the same mistake as I did.
Right.
Which I think this is going to be a more perfect Dapper Daddy's dating tobacco moment.
I couldn't agree more.
Dapper Daddies dating tobaccos.
He knows he feels something for Fran.
Yes, he does. But I like to actually, they end this scene with like the little fade out, but Max really is pondering what Niles said. So
Yeah. So really taking it to heart and thinking about it.
yeah.
So in this next scene, we have the kids, Niles and Max together, and Brighton talks to Max and says, "Come on, can you offer Fran some more money to have her stick around?" And then Max says, "Brighton," like he's all disappointed in him for even saying that. And then he says, "Oh, I already tried." And it didn't work.
Yeah. Otherwise, that could have been a great business move for Fran.
Yeah.
Just fake the engagement and
That's true.
then get that bonus.
Yeah, or get a raise.
Yeah.
We will see that she does get a bonus too.
Well, yeah.
So Max is really encouraging the kids to pretend to feel happy about this, at least pretend to act happy about this. And Cece is still singing at this part of the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe all that champagne has gotten to her.
Wonder how many glasses she had. And then we hear Danny screaming from outside the Sheffield house, and he says, "Come on, Fran, I'm double parked out here."
Yeah, which then Cece's like, "Oh, this guy's a trip."
No, she says, "Oh, he sounds charming." When it's like the complete opposite of charming. It's this crazy like accent. He's screaming it.
Yeah, because it's gonna be like more perfect for Cece to with
Comment on
who this is. Yeah.
So Fran says, "Look at her go," commenting on Cece, making a whole big deal about the situation. And then Niles says, "The woman could deliver for Domino's," which is his first burn of this episode.
This I didn't like. I don't know. I thought about this. I was trying to think whether this is like an actual. I mean, I guess what, because she's like this big business partner of a theater show, and then she could be degraded to like a. Not degraded, I guess that's not. But
If there's any Domino's pizza workers listening in,
yeah, I don't mean like that.
you do have a meaningful job.
Yes, I do need my pizza from you. I appreciate your work of business. But I guess from like, I don't know, salary perspective or something, that it could be a burn. I guess in that regard it is. Oh,
Well, then
it's
Fran,
like half a one. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really understand the reference here. I liked Fran's comment more. She says, "If she doesn't come hot, she's free."
Yeah, that one.
But
is-
like Niles, that comment, it is one of his only burns of this episode, but I didn't really understand it.
it was like out of left field and not a good one.
Okay, I think I understand it. The look at her go, because she's like racing to go see Danny and do all these crazy things. She's speedy. So maybe it means she could work for Domino's because you have to be fast at delivering the pizzas. Is that what he meant by that?
I guess, but
Not that she's she's making minimum wage delivering the pizzas.
I mean,
I think that was the biggest stretch I've ever heard. But good job trying to figure it out. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like there's plenty of. Yeah.
Do you think that's what they were?
Yeah, I guess that's
I don't know.
a valid assumption. You could take it as that, but I don't know.
We'd love to hear your opinions on this. Please, somebody tell us.
Yeah, this was a strange one, I thought.
It's kind of strange.
Regardless.
So Danny comes inside, and then Fran says, "Oh, I want to introduce you to my boss," who's no longer going to be her boss for that much longer, right? So I didn't really understand this, but she says, "Maxwell Sheffield, this is Danny Imperiali." And then Danny says to Mr. Sheffield, "How's it hanging?" And then Mr. Sheffield says, "I beg your pardon." And then Danny says, "Huh?" And Mr. Sheffield says, "What?" And then Fran says, "Oh, we have a little bit of a language barrier here. Mr. Sheffield speaks English."
Yeah, well, I guess it's almost. I feel like they were almost taking a play on kind of the low class society versus a high class society. Almost. Like
Yeah,
that
I
it's
think so.
So different. Yeah.
So two different extremes
Right.
that
it's
they
just
can't
like
even communicate.
totally butting heads and not understanding each other at all.
And does Fran really want to be with the other extreme?
Yes.
So Cece says, oh, I need to buy you some new bags for your honeymoon, because she's helping to carry out Fran's bags because she just needs to get Fran out of the house as fast as possible so nothing goes opposite of what it should at this point. And she says, these bags you have are so old. And then Niles and Fran at the same time, they say, takes one to know one.
Yeah.
Which is Niles' second burn that he shares with Fran.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, if we go just one more line with what Fran says, this shows like, kind of the bond that they've developed over the time working together. And I mean, Niles is probably her closest friend or close friend at this point. And they're all kind of on the same wavelength with things, and they have the same phrasing and whatnot. So yes. But yes, this I count as a burn, and it's much better than
the other one.
Yeah.
So that's it for the burns for Niles for this episode.
Yes, that's really it, which is short and sweet.
Is this heaven or is this hell? Maybe sometimes both as well. Naughty nights and sassy.
Niles, burn number 1.
A woman could deliver. The woman could deliver for Domino's. The woman, not a woman.
And Niles, burn number 2.
Takes one to know one.
And Cece's burns.
Zilch, Zada, 0.
Nothing.
She will not respond yet.
Quiet, Cece. For the burns portion, not for the rest of this episode. So
Just too focused on
getting Fran out the door.
drinking champagne.
And drinking champagne. And singing.
Yeah.
Getting plastered.
She's got more important things than worrying about coming back with Niles.
Yes. So you're right, though, that this last burn does kind of show the relationship that Fran and Niles have developed together, because Fran says she thinks that she will miss Niles the most when she's saying goodbye to everybody.
Yeah. Which take a stab to
Everybody else.
Max. Oh, Max particularly.
And the kids.
Yes, yeah.
So Niles says, oh, yes. And he says, well, I'll help you guys out. And Danny says, yes, thank you. Take these to the van outside. It's powder blue. And it says Danny's Parisian Brides for Less on the front of it. It's printed on both sides, actually. And Niles says, oh, thank you. We would have been wandering out there for hours. So.
Yeah.
Obviously sarcastic.
Yeah. Which, well, we see he takes these out of the bag, and then, they pan over to the living room. But, like, Niles is back in, like, 2 seconds after this. Like, I was amazed at how fast. And he was parked, which, I mean.
That would have been even more ridiculous that he had to describe what van it was if he was right in front of them.
Yeah, which, I mean, he has to be for how fast Niles returns.
Yeah.
From this thing. Like, if literally opened the door, probably would see the car or the truck or the van. But anyway, I was just like, I was like, wow, he really came back quick. Unless he just got lightning feet or something, but.
Yeah, that was really maybe too quick. That doesn't make sense. So Fran then goes to Mr. Sheffield and says, hey, maybe I'll just work a few days a week for you. Like, I think she's starting to get panicky that she's really about to leave. And she says, a few days a week, Monday through Friday, which is basically full time. And then Danny comes in and he says, there's no way Danny Imperiali's wife is going to take a job. And then Fran says, I thought you wanted me to work at the bridal shop, though. And he says, yeah, but I wasn't going to pay you to work here. And you need to be a lady of leisure, working at the bridal shop for no money, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids. So that's all of Danny's plans for Fran.
Yeah. Which I guess also points out, I didn't even think about this, but obviously since Heather and Danny broke up, I guess Heather lost her job at his shop, so now he just needs that
Open position.
employment position has returned.
It all depends on who he's romantically dating.
Yeah, this guy can't get. I guess maybe Heather was working for free as well then.
I'm sure she was. And she probably just had enough of it at this point.
Yeah, he's just looking for free labor.
Yeah. She's like, goodbye. I'm done with this. 6 months of no pay.
Yeah.
So Grace reads Fran a poem, and everybody's saying goodbye all nicely. And then Brighton is honest, and he says, I hate you right now. So Maggie says, yeah, this is ridiculous. We were just told to pretend to be happy for you. And then Fran goes up to Max and he says, you're telling them to lie about their feelings? All disappointed.
Yeah, which, I mean, I could understand from Max's point to not make it harder for Fran to see everyone broken down in tears that she's leaving. So try to look like you're okay or something.
Yeah. And she says, you haven't even gone, and she says, I haven't even gone yet and you're making these mistakes. And Max says, I did it for you. You think it's easy for us to stand here and watch you walk out that door and throw your life away with that Neanderthal? And then Danny goes, huh? And then Max says, I'm sorry, old man. And he says, hey, I'm younger than you.
Yeah. I was stunned here by Max really it's like the first time we really see Max get pretty
heated
about something.
Yeah, he basically says, what a big, terrible mistake that you're making. He just
Yeah.
explodes at this point.
Yeah.
And then Max says, okay, it's true. The children, they're really going to miss you, and I'll miss you. This is where he admits it for the first time.
Yes. Because it's
And-
finally hit now.
Finally. And he says, you've made us all so happy here, so we just want for you to be happy. And then Fran says, I don't want to go. And then Cece says, do something, you big oaf, talking to Danny. And Danny says, you're damn right I will. And he says, come on, honey, you're embarrassing me here. And Fran says, Danny, I don't want to hurt you, but I think I've outgrown you. And to me, I thought this was the Fran finesse moment.
Yes, because this is Fran kind of outgrowing her, finally, this toxic relationship for herself.
Yes.
Because she was interested in it still, but now she's officially ready to move on. So I would say so.
Fran finds finesse.
So Danny says, no, you didn't outgrow me. You're just wearing heels. And Fran says, were you always this stupid? And Niall says, well, maybe you got a little smarter, Fran. And Fran says, no, I think he was always this stupid.
Yeah, I would probably choose the latter because I'd almost think it's almost like a dig at me if I'm always slightly smarter than that level.
I know.
But
So Fran then gets to rewrite her story and she dumps Danny. And then Danny kisses her, which Danny tries to use this a lot. Just like, oh, let me throw in a kiss, like to try to convince Fran of all these things. So he does it again. And Fran says, oh, I'm just not interested in it anymore.
well,
And
because I think it shows really their relationship was pretty much a physical one, and that's about it. There's really no emotional or mental
connection.
It's
Yeah.
purely a physical. So that's all he has when he's trying to do this last minute save.
It's his last resort.
Yes.
So after this kiss doesn't work, Danny turns to Cece and says, do you want it?
Yeah, this is like a weird. I mean, is he just desperate at this point? I don't know really.
For anybody?
Yeah, this is. I don't know. I guess he's just one of those. It's like this guy who always has to have someone, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this remark was like really caught me off guard.
But the funniest thing about this was Cece's reaction. She doesn't say anything and she just looks stunned when he turns and says that to her.
Yeah, but it's almost, but then I started thinking like, man, Cece's just like she's like the scrap pickings for everything.
Yeah, it's when everything else doesn't work out. Okay, let's go to Cece now.
Because there's that, and then the whole with the one episode about the kid And she's like, I just need to throw myself at the father for the critic at this
Oh,
point.
yeah. I should offer me.
I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. It's just she's really she's getting the
It's
brunt end
ridiculous.
of everything.
It's really ridiculous. So,
But she does go chase him. That's because he runs away.
yes. And she says, wait, we'll win her back. We can get flowers, perfume. She needs a new car. I'll pay for everything. Desperate.
Yeah. New car be kind of nice.
Yeah. And that obviously doesn't work. And then Max and the kids, they're thrilled about this news. He says he's taking everybody to the Four Seasons to celebrate. And Fran says, oh, it's my treat. And Max says, no, I'll pay for it. And Fran says, I'll just use some of the money that you gave me from the honeymoon. Like, you didn't think you were getting any of that back. Did you?
Yeah, that's a little bold of her to.
That was really bold. I wonder how much he gave to her for that.
Yeah, he probably covered like the whole honeymoon, so
Yeah.
it's probably a nice little check. Which then he's like perfectly okay with.
Yeah, he goes, consider it a bonus.
Yeah, I mean that
Which
was
was really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Also, we talk about here when he mentions the Four Seasons. We're talking about like either a nice restaurant or the actual group.
It must be the restaurant.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I assumed it was a restaurant, but then I actually just remembered the Four Seasons.
To the Four Seasons. Or
yes, yeah, okay.
who's the group?
Those are the guys who sing Sherry.
Yeah.
Oh.
I wanted you to explain.
Oh. Sherry, Sherry, baby, Sherry.
The lead singer of the Four Seasons. Still touring at 90 years old. Sounds just as good as what he sounded like when he first recorded that song. So Max welcomes Fran back officially, and he says, I really hope that you made the right decision. And Fran says, I definitely did. Like, yeah, I did.
Yeah, there's no doubt in her mind. The credits start rolling, and she's on a plane. I don't know where this was, unless this is purely just for the actual reenactment of the.
I think it was just for that. There was no context behind it.
Well, I guess this is purely. This is not like Fran. This is like Fran Drescher talking, not Fran Fine talking.
Right.
On the plane.
Like they could have filmed this scene at any point in the series and just attached it to this episode.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This isn't like a honeymoon by herself or something. Yep. But yeah, she says she's on the plane. She's flying first class, and she runs into a producer, and she's like, "I've got a great life about my show, or a great show about my life."
Yeah, well, she says, oh, what do you do for a living? And he says, oh, I'm a producer for CBS. And that's when she's like, oh, well, have you thought about doing something like this for a TV show? My life could definitely be a TV show. I'm a nanny. I got here because I was dumped by my boyfriend at a bridal shop. So she starts explaining the whole first episode.
Yeah, which is actually how the nanny came to be, which was cool. But
right, she actually sat on a plane, happened to sit next to a producer, and started throwing her ideas for a TV show at him. So I was happy to see that they incorporated this.
Yeah. Now I don't know if it was part of the truth of it or not, but in this reenactment here, the guy is like, "Get me off this plane! I don't want to. I don't want to talk to this crazy lady." But
I mean, I would guess not, because they got the TV show. So
yes, he was probably more interested than this guy was. So
yeah, but it was a nod to that happening, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the end of the episode.
With that, I think we're ready for our recap.
Let's put this all together. These moments are forever.
Heather Biblo and Danny Imperiali broke up.
We're breaking up. I'm sick of this. Can't handle this attraction anymore.
Danny is asking about Fran.
She's still around. I need some free labor.
Fran goes back to the bridal shop.
I've got to shop and look great and show how much better I am without him.
Danny asks Fran to marry him in the bridal shop.
Will you marry me after I've cheated on you and replaced you for better employment? And now
They're
you will
in
think about it rather than just saying instantly no.
Fran thinks about it.
I'm thinking about it. He cheated on me. He fired me. I was left on the streets.
Sylvia does a rain dance.
She makes rain. She makes it rain.
She makes rain.
And not the money kind. The real rain.
Fran agrees to get married for the sake of getting married.
I must get on with my life, even though it's not what I dreamed. I will continue on.
Fran gears up to leave the Sheffield family.
That's a sad event. Niles is either sad, truly sad, or he's sad because of his onions.
And his incorrect chopping technique.
Yes, maybe he slightly cut his finger as well and is tearing up because of that.
Yes. So Danny shows up to the Sheffield house and acts stupid.
How's it hanging?
Huh?
I'm a Neanderthal.
That was probably my favorite line of the whole episode. That Neanderthal? Huh? Fran decides to move on from Danny and call things off.
I am done. I have outgrown you. And you are just stupid.
Cece stops her singing at this point.
No more jolly good fellow. Now Cece is the sad fellow.
Now she's back to hard liquor.
Well, she was doing that regardless.
Oh,
whether
yeah.
She was happy or sad. But well, I guess.
The champagne when she's happy.
Yeah, I guess. That's
Hard
about
liquor when she's
right.
sad.
Yes. Yeah.
Max and the kids are happy that Fran is back.
All is normal. Fran gets a sweet bonus.
The end.
The credits roll. Well, that comes to the conclusion of this episode.
That's right. I had a good time with this one.
Yes, talking about proposals and marriage and
Danny
not happening.
and Neanderthals.
Yes. Huh?
Huh? Well, thanks so much for tuning in. And we enjoyed speaking about this, and we'll see you for the last episode of season 1 coming up.
Yeah, don't forget to follow us on all your favorite platforms and podcasts and applications, and then we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Ciao.
Bye.